a Wednesday, hump day, right? Happy October 2023. So I am Christine Dykman, and I am a certified human resources through SHRM as well as HRCI. And I'm going to give you a little bit of information about job seeking as well as research using the LinkedIn platform. Or rather, I am going to let Ken give that to you while we are together today. I am the Workforce Readiness Director for Garden State SHRM, the state of New Jersey. And so I want to pass that information on to you to help you land quicker and to be able to use LinkedIn to do research. A lot of people will say, hey, just go to LinkedIn. You can find out the information there. You can do research on a company about it, and then nobody tells you how to do it, just that you can do it. And the fact is, you can do it, but Ken is going to show all of us today how to use the LinkedIn platform to do research, find out about people and places and the company and what they're about and their website and all that good stuff, so that you are a better informed candidate as well as better informed client, depending on what angle you're coming from. All right, Ken, take it away. Let us know everything that you're doing and that what we can do.
Well, if I had a week, maybe we get through all of it, but I definitely wanted to come on today. And thank you, Christine, very much for having me here today. Christine and I actually met on LinkedIn many, many years ago. And I like to tell the story that Christine was commenting on a post, and I commented back, and one thing led to another in a really, really, really good way. And that's really what LinkedIn is all about engagement. So before I actually go to LinkedIn, which I want to do later on, I wanted to give everyone a little bit of a frame of reference as to what they'll be looking at, because I have found doing a lot of presentations, it's great to show people how to do it on a presentation, but it's much more visual later on. So I'm going to be going through this. And some of these are just reminders. You have 220 characters to sell yourself. And not only don't default to your most recent job, I actually have someone that I'm working with, Lee Hecht Harrison, who has in his headline, open to new opportunities, which is probably true, but not a good idea. And when I get to the searching later on, if you search for jobs you're interested in and look at the skills, you can add those skills and also add that to your profile. And a lot of this really comes back to what searching is all about. So when you go to open to work, you can set this up with preferences for jobs. And again, I will show everyone how to do all these things later on, but I think it's a good starting point to show. You can mention your job titles, whether you're interested in on-site, hybrid, or remote, and also locations. And the mistake a lot of people make is they put their hometown as the main location. You're better off having some metropolitan area about that. And it's much research.
Why is that? Why do you recommend that?
Well, I recommend that because from a search standpoint, it's not going to make a huge difference, because what I found out from LinkedIn is if you do Wayne, New Jersey, which is near where I am, some of the other towns will come in. But if someone looks at your profile and doesn't do a search, they're going to get not the best impression. I mean, you want to, you can put United States. Again, these are all general best practices. I list Wayne there because that's one of my locations. But most people, when they do the default, it defaults, you're asked to enter a zip code, and the zip code is the place you live at, but you have an opportunity to add a second one, or even change the zip code to a different area. I mean, it's a best practice. Different types of recruiters, and we should be talking about that too. There are recruiters that are just like you and me, Christine. We're on the platform doing searching. And then there are those that do the open to work and have that available. But this stuff here is all basic stuff you can do. So this is an example of my job here. Very little of this tells specifically, it's all about job search. I am an introvert, totally am. I'm a Giants fan, although I should probably take that off after the way they played on Monday night.
Yeah, do you really want to admit that? I don't know. Well, and I guess that shows that you can change your headline. You know, it's not like set in stone, right?
Well, at one point I had Mets. I changed it up. And again, some of these are just keywords. Always learning, always positive. And my background image reflects that. That's something that you can do on Canva as well. But um, important thing is, and then this is the thing we talked about too, is the about section. You have 4 lines to get their attention. It is all searchable, but you want to make sure people get, see it first. And I actually include my email address up here too.
Why 4 lines? I don't understand. I mean, I thought it was like 2,600 characters
Well,
or
you
something.
can see 4 lines, but you'd have to select the see more. So if someone calls up your profile, they're not going to see the 2,600 characters unless they select see more, which you want them to do.
Okay. So some of this might be a repeat for you
Yeah.
pros that are out there listening in. You might have, oh, my LinkedIn is fine. And no problem. That's awesome. I'm really glad to hear that. For some others that might be in that learning phase, there are some basics that Ken is discussing before he goes into the how to do the research part of it. We just want to make sure
Absolutely.
that everyone's on the same page.
And this is an area here that, again, you still have the 4 lines, but now you can add top skills there. And there's skills that are coming from your profile, all the skills that you have. So when you go on the back end, and I'll show you later on, you edit them and you add the skills here. Again, a lot of this is just to show you what you can do and then actually doing it later on. And then you would then determine any of your skills, as long as you have them listed, can be added. And this is just a list of them all. So every skill also has an edit or a pencil there because you can make a determination about which skills you want with certain jobs. So I'm going to edit this job and LinkedIn will ask me, where should I put it among all my other jobs? And that will then show up on your profile. Now, the rest of this, before we get to LinkedIn, is about searching and what I'm going to be talking about later on. You have use the keyword for searching. Think of LinkedIn as a Google, Google. Like
Google on steroids.
Google on steroids. Like I typed the word layoffs here, just as an example. And then what I would get from there is content. Like I would get layoffs and I select posts. And people that have layoffs in there have posts. And maybe it's something I want to comment on.
Is it just if they use a hashtag layoff or if
No,
the word layoff is in their post somewhere?
The word is in their layoff somewhere. It's not
Okay.
I'm not even going to get so much into hashtags just yet, but it says like layoffs. So you can also further refine it when you do posts by a time frame because you're going to get posts from whenever. So I like to do it the last 24 hours or last week to find the most recent stuff that's been posted. But you can do that with anything and everything. You can also do a sort by someone's name, which I think is really cool. So let's say I want to see what you've done, Christine. I can do a search for your name and start typing in, and I can see exactly what you posted.
Okay.
Another way to do this is you have the search and you can select on the side here. Like I'm doing a search for project manager and I selected people. People shows up on the top and also shows up on the side. Now that's just the first step again.
Does it matter what I use, whether it's the top or the side?
Doesn't matter what you use. The thing to think about is you're doing this for search for all different reasons. I recommend that Lee Hack Harrison. A lot of people do searches this way. First of all, to find out why people's profiles, but you can also do a search for events that way. If I'm a project manager, I want to find events.
That's really important. A lot of people ask me, well, I can't find your event. And they have this opportunity to search right in front of them at their fingertips.
Absolutely. And then you also can do searches for a company, within a company. You can refine your searches. The thing that I like, which is the coolest, is when you can do a search as a recruiter. And Abby Coat showed me this a long time ago. If you type like "we're hiring" or "I'm hiring," those are keywords, and people will show up. Now you're going to get a lot of people there, so you want to make it a little more granular. So under "we're hiring," maybe I want to just do it for location. And then you would then select the location. You could select the industry. And I'll go through this when we get to LinkedIn actually also, but I just want to set it up. So then you select the industry and now you've got, we're hiring in technology and media in New York City. I have 900 people who have that in there. Now, that, again, it's a starting point. You can do as many or as few times as you want, but if you don't know where to start, you can do a search for company the same way. And it's just using two keywords. We're hiring, I'm hiring, hire me. Again, it's just think about it as you might do a search on Google.
So Frank has said the character count limit of 220 includes spaces.
Yes.
Is that the for the search bar that we're talking about, that character
No,
limit?
the search bar you can do Boolean searches within the search bar. It's just not going
Oh,
to show up all the way
okay.
on here. I'm very simplistically, you can do it as a Boolean search the same way. You can do other keywords. I like to start very basic and take it from
Okay.
there. But
Okay.
keep in mind that the more search terms you get, the harder it may be to find something. I mean, LinkedIn is not, yeah, so that's the other thing. Now, a very important thing is to turn on two-step verification, which is the ability that if you log into LinkedIn, you logged out, it'll send you a code or something to sign back in. Because I've had several people who have been not only spam, but they've been phished for. It's an easy thing to do. And if you go to your settings, which is at the top of your page, there's a thing for sign-in and security. Um, and we could spend days upon settings, but this is an important one. So I wanted to review some new changes. Then we're going to head to LinkedIn, if that's okay.
Now, you say new changes, some new changes, and I'm following Kevin. And Kevin says I think we're up to like 143 changes just for 2023, right?
Well, I think you have to quantify. You have to quantify what the definition of a change is, also,
Okay. All right. Great.
because I don't believe moving something, adding certain functionality, and then you're adding to that functionality later on to be two or three changes. And a lot of the changes
Okay.
that are rolled out are on other changes. I mean,
Okay.
LinkedIn. So yes, there have probably been 140 something things this year, but some of them were changed before, and maybe they were changed back.
Okay.
So
Okay.
you want to look at it from that perspective as well. So these are new changes that have not been out before. And this next one is one that scares the life out of me. They're limiting the number of invites from a basic account to 10 a month. And they're limiting the character length from 300 to 200. And a lot of us, it's rolling out little by little. But the question is, why? We are really trying to figure out the why about this. And I actually did a poll, and most of the people are not going to go from basic to premium to get more personalized invitations. And I don't know about you, Christine, that's kind of a scary thought that you're going to get
Very,
connected. Yeah.
very scary. You know what? I think that everyone's like, oh, the purpose of LinkedIn is to connect people. And I'm like, no, the purpose of LinkedIn in existence is to make money. Every
It
business
is.
is in business to make money. So how does that work into this new rule, work into LinkedIn making more money?
Well, my gut feeling is, and I have nothing to prove it yet, but my gut feeling is open to work is going to be the next thing that's going to be monetized. I would not be surprised.
Really?
That's my gut. And a couple of us
Okay.
have that gut feeling.
Wow. Wow.
I mean, again, there's no
Oh,
way to prove this, but we kind of
wow.
know how this platform works. And I say this caveat all the time. I love you, LinkedIn. I really love you. And I want to make this the best way possible. But a lot of us have so many things we'd love to see do better.
Mhm.
So I think that's calling it out. You can also schedule posts now, which I actually did when I was on vacation.
I did it too. It's awesome. And it's so
Yes,
easy.
you go to your post. There's a clock down there, and you
Hmm.
select the clock icon. Then you can schedule the post. Now you can tell this is an old slide because I did this before Thanksgiving, but it's the same idea. And then you pick
Is
when you
that
want to do
feature available for anybody, whether
it.
they're on
Anyone,
a basic
anyone,
free platform or paid or?
anyone. The big caveat, though, is once you schedule a post, you can change when it's being scheduled, but you cannot change the post itself. You can't change text in the post,
Okay. Hmm.
which
Hmm.
is why I'm very leery about, and then it becomes a whole thing. And you want to work, like I actually did a scheduled post and I didn't know that until I had created my own post. So I had two posts going in 2 hours. And that became a lesson learned post for me. to share my
I
story.
bet you were on LinkedIn responding to comments the whole day, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. So the latest things that have come out of the connection verification, which you can do on someone's profile. If you do more and it's select about this profile, you'll find out information about the person. And a lot of times that's one way you can tell if they're not really active or not is when the picture was. The other thing, which is even newer than that now, is the ability to have, and there's a little check mark here. If you see the check mark here, it comes up with information about the person. Like I have a verified email address of Lee Hecht Harrison. This is a big discussion in the industry amongst all of us. How much information do we actually want to share on there?
Yes, I've heard the chatter back and forth, and yes, it's
So,
kind of frightening. Yeah.
so the last thing is I want to talk about AI. AI is now going to be rolling out to everyone where you can enhance your profile using AI. So it will look at your headline and suggest something, or look your about section and suggest something.
Is
So
there
this
a
is,
method to the madness for
well,
LinkedIn as far as who gets that first and who gets it last?
well, right now it's premium and it's a pop-up. You don't have to do it. But again, I
Okay.
like, so this was what it made as a suggestion for me. It looked at and it made a change, not interested. It changed my about section, not interested. And you can obviously edit it, but I just don't like all the AI around. So I'm ending this, Christine, with something you and I can both relate to. We were all at LinkedIn earlier this year.
Yes. Yes, we were.
And I joke about this. This was actually a post. No elevator pitches here. And that was a picture of all of us in an elevator. I mean, I think, and then there's of course the
I know
picture.
those people. Yeah.
And then I'm sure you can find yourself. This is what we did. This is like the picture at the party where you want to make sure everyone is there. So
Yep.
at this point, I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to go to StreamYard.
Thank you.
And because I wanted to at least give a frame of reference as to things. And I don't know if people have been posting comments or not.
We do. We have a few comments, and I know that some of those things you did discuss, but I wanted to bring them to your attention to just make sure that they got their answer that they were looking for. And one of them was, how would open to work be monetized? We did briefly talk about that. So
I'm gonna give you my best thought here. They're going to send a notice out if they haven't already that it's rolling off. There's a whole job premium section on LinkedIn, resume reviews, stuff like that. And I would believe that that is going to be a mechanism. Again, I have no proof of this, but knowing how LinkedIn thinks, I can see it happening. What I'm pushing for with a lot of other people is to have people who have been out for a while be able to still have the connection limits taken away. Because think about it, when you join the platform, we're telling people to personalize. We're not telling people to send it blindly. And if you start out, don't have a lot of connections, you want to build that relationship. I wish I knew what LinkedIn was thinking. I think they think it's going to cut down on the number of requests and things, but they should do a better job with messaging. And I know that Brenda posted this morning. I've posted before. If I get one more message about PMP certification, and I get 4 or 5 of those a day, sorry, block and report, block and report.
And I am PMP certified. So
well,
yeah, no.
I made the decision not to a while ago. I thought the product owner and Scrum certification, but if I want to, I am not. Or the other thing is people looking for virtual assistants and things.
Right.
It's a challenge because
yes,
they're doing through automation what they're told to do. And the disconnect is so much automation on the platform that it just drives you crazy. I have actually, for a couple of times, required people to put my email address in there, which I hate to have to do, but it's in my about section. And I tried it for a week and it did cut down on some connections. But even if they came up with captcha something like show you're a real person,
right. I agree. I think that would be a better route to connecting.
So I could ask you, Christy, when you were working for the state, and and you're working with people now, do you suggest any different types of best practices or any things that you find are most helpful when you get someone started?
one, get on LinkedIn, and two, use LinkedIn.
Uh-huh.
A lot of people will create it and forget it in the, clients from the state. And so just being on LinkedIn, you're not showing, you're posting and you're commenting and sharing and making relationships and building those connections. So that's kind of pointless. Like, don't invest all that time and then just leave it.
The
So
thing,
I
the,
think that's the biggest thing. We talk about all the things that you just talked about, and it needs to be this long, and fill this out. But that seems to be the biggest part.
well, I also I got pitched 4 or 5 times. I was the wrong Kenneth Lang, and I knew I was the wrong Kenneth Lang because he was doing a cut and paste from the profile.
Right. Right.
And then I actually reached out to him, and he still was still sending me things. We have, and you remember, and I actually mentioned about this today. You guys, you remember Arnold Diaz and his whole of shame, 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 shame.
Yes.
For a little while, I was shaming people on their posts without their names. Not that I
Mhm.
thought they would see them, but again, it's just you have to sometimes have fun with it.
Mhm.
You know, I'm a LinkedIn geek. I think you're a LinkedIn geek, and a bunch of
Yes.
people are. Um, so it makes us that much more ingrained in it, and that's why
Absolutely.
when I got the aha moment about, hey, I can do searching on here, I'm like, wow, why didn't I think of this before?
Mhm. Mhm. Well, I wanted to ask you what your opinion was. Momoy had, made this wonderful comment, and so I wanted to see what your 2 cents were regarding her favorite features, her new favorite feature, signaling like
Your
a good
interest
dog,
again.
interest in a company.
Well, here's the thing. There's a way in the about section of a company where you can select your interest in, and it does go to a secondary feed at the company. It
Hmm.
doesn't get blocked in with all the resumes and things. It doesn't hurt. I look at it like open to work. It doesn't hurt, but it's not in and of itself going to be a lot because I mean I've selected that several times for companies, haven't heard back. I don't know that I expect to, um, but you try it. Even with open to work, if you can use open to work, take it off and put it back on because like with Dice, when I was in job search, I put a new resume up every Monday or every other because
Yeah.
it was perceived as new. It's the same thing.
Mhm.
Try anything,
Mhm.
because there's no one right or wrong way to do this. As Marty Latman and other people say, it depends.
I am so glad that you said that, Ken, because that was my third recommendation when I was working for the government. I would say, whatever's try it and then erase it and try something different and then see if that works. And if it's not generating the results that you want, take it down, try something different, and keep experimenting until you are actually getting the results that you want, which might take some time. But sending 2, 3, 4 resumes out and not getting feedback is not like the end all be all. You need to kind of keep playing around to get the results that you want.
The other thing I find from talking to people is the jobs that they're looking for, the titles have changed or the
Yes.
responsibilities are different. So that's one of the reasons why you have to look at the skills. And you can also look at other people's profiles because we could have a whole discussion about job specs and wish lists and pink unicorns and things. But what you want to separate yourself out and from everyone else, and it's not always easy to do, and it's not always
Mm-hmm.
going to work. And
Mm-hmm.
LinkedIn, as challenging as it is an amazing platform. I mean,
Let me ask you this. I mean, we have a comment from Kim that says, my entire feed is filled with PMP certification. Well, it's not even a part of those groups. So I had read somewhere, I think Ed Ham had posted that you can train your feed
yes,
to give you what you want it to. So you're not seeing certain
but there's
things
a
like
difference.
PMP posts
But,
all the
but
time.
the
How does that
PMP,
work?
but the PMP, again, there's two different types of PMP. There's the messaging that we get, which we can control. What you can do is you can on the feed you can hide certain things, hide
Okay.
content you're not interested in, mention why. I think that my feed is pretty good for that way so far. I also have, if you were here, you'd see a Google bookmark with people upon people upon people that I follow.
Okay.
So I can keep track of the latest posts that they do. It's not just by osmosis, but you have to keep training it. You're always going to show ads, but you want to let the platform know as much as possible.
So you had mentioned like a tab. Are those literally Google tabs, or are they tabs within
Well,
LinkedIn?
is it okay if I share my screen now?
Absolutely. I would love to know a little bit more about what you are
Yep.
referring to.
Yeah, because that's why I say this whole thing is visual, and it's so much easier to go through the steps. And fortunately, I've gotten better at the technology now. So I'm on LinkedIn right now, and hopefully everyone can see that.
Now we can. I can. Mm-hmm.
So, like, if you go to your tab up here, this is the search bar.
Yep.
And if I were to do a search, I could search for anything and everything. So why don't you give me let's do this in real time. If you were to give me something you'd like me to search for.
Architect.
So first I type architect. And it breaks me down to this level here. There's people, services, jobs, posts, events. So let's take the exercise further. What would you like me to do next?
Company.
All right, so companies, these are all companies. Now you can go down further by company size. So let's say I want a large company.
Okay.
Now I've got 117 that have architect in them.
Interesting.
And that's just one way to do it. So if I'm going to do, like I said, if I do I'm hiring again, I'm hiring, and I just select people. Well, I'm going to go crazy with 818,000. So no.
Why? Why would you go crazy?
Now this is one I'm calling this in now because this is if you have a premium account, there's a thing called actively hiring. So I do want to show you this. If you select actively hiring, what will come up is anyone who has this purple I'm hiring.
But only for premium
Only
users.
for premium. That's why I don't I want to stick with basics, but just to show you. So if I do people, now let's say under all filters, what industry would you want me to check for?
Wow. Administrative and support. How about that?
Let me do architecture and planning since we're going to be on the theme.
Okay, there we go. Okay.
Architecture and planning. Now I've got 130. Now let me do it by location. And you can do multiple, and I'm going to do. You don't have to do one, so I'm just going to.
Okay.
And that's the other thing. It's not just one. So let's say I'm going to do these two. So these are people that may be hiring, but since it's too small a sample, I'm going to just take it out of here because it's too refined. But these are people here who have this title and they're analysts. And again, it's with I'm hiring in architecture. So if I take that out and let's say I'm going to do staffing and recruiting, and I'm going to lower it. I'm going to do again. I'm going to get rid of US and I'm going to go New York City, and I'm going to do Philly. Now I've got I'm hiring and staffing and recruiting 300. I'm hiring now. I'm hiring. I'm hiring. I'm hiring.
So I'm looking at your green boxes on top, and it says people, locations, and staffing. So it's giving me a list of people, but locations I only picked 2, so therefore the number 2. Correct?
Right. So if I were to take this off and take Greater Philly off, I've got less.
Yes. Okay.
And if you wanted to type I'm hiring remote, I get something different.
Okay. So I'm hiring remote, and you press see all search results, or right?
I'm hiring. This says I'm hiring in remote, and again, I can do the same thing. Maybe I'm going to do location again, New York City, and then I'm going to do I'm hiring remote. So I'm hiring in remote. These are all people have I'm hiring and have remote as an option.
So I would like to know, I mean, there's all of this information at your fingertips. How many people that are in our audience right now are actually using this feature? Or did you create it and every now and then you put a post up and then you're leaving it, but you're not really using it for more than that?
And I don't know, but even with something like like if I'm going to do I'm hiring, and I'm going to just change it from people to events. I'm curious to see what shows up. Again, if you're in job search mode, you do this, and I'm going to do I'm hiring, and I'm going to select events and see what shows up. Okay, I'm hiring. I'm hiring. And again, the purpose of this is an exercise is just to show you how the search engine works. I mean, there's no one right or wrong way to do it. It's the idea of to go on there, and it can be hiring, hire me, or what I'm going to say, which is what I was alluding to before, is the idea of going to look for a job. So if I'm looking for a project manager, I'm going to look for, I'm going to do all filters, project manager job. And again, I'm going to make this just for the New York City area. And you're not calling this up to apply for a job necessarily. But here's the job here. And I'm going to say, let me look at the specs for the job.
Why do you care what the specs are for the job if you're not even applying?
Because you want to include those possibly in your about section.
In your about section?
In your about section as well, and in other places. And as
such
skills.
As?
Let me just go this one here again. Here's another one, EMP. If you've done ERP implementation and consulting, main duties, again, some of these buzzword things you could easily pick up for any project manager job.
Yes.
In terms of duties. But I'm going to go to my profile to show you what I was alluding to, because I think it'll make that much more sense. So if I go to my profile here and I view my profile, when I go into my activities in my about section here, I have a thing for core competencies, and these are searchable. Now, I'm not looking for a job, so these are more relevant for me. And I have top skills, but there are so many people that have a list of the core competencies. They list what they're looking for, and they added an experience. So the most important thing is to make sure you're found. And I think a lot of people on LinkedIn look at it one way. And when you decide one day that you're going to do searching on LinkedIn, it makes a big, big difference. And I think says, I believe this is being recorded. Someone asked about that, so you can watch the replay later. Is that correct? Yeah, I see you did that.
Yes.
So I think the other thing to think about when you're doing searching is you can search for all different things. If you're looking for content, like the one thing that everyone does is they do open to work now. Everyone is open to work. So now I'm going to select open to work, and I'm going to select posts. And I'm going to get inundated. So now I'm going to do date posted in the last 24 hours. And this is an opportunity. Again, there are different posts here. Usually you're going to see at least one person here that's here looking for a job while still employed, et cetera, et cetera. It's content. Sometimes it gives you an idea to what you should be doing. Sometimes it's...
We have a question.
Sure,
and
absolutely.
As Craig is saying, this is truly the secret sauce. So he was joined us a little bit late. Is there a way that you can go back and just show him the access information on how to get there? Because
sure,
I know that he's on LinkedIn. So how will he go to get the information?
You type on your feed, you have a search bar. And you start typing in like, this is my history of here things I've typed. So if I type I'm hiring, then it brings me down to a next level. You can do posts, people, jobs, groups, companies, courses, events. So if I do I'm hiring and do people, anyone who has that is going to show up there, but it's 118,000 results, and it's not going to be that helpful. So you want to break it down. Break it down probably best by location. I'm just using New York City as an example. And then possibly under all filters in industry. And you're not locked in. You can do as many or as few as you want here. So if I were to just use one for the purpose of this, I've got 585 people that are hiring. Now, if you want to, you can even go further down with first connections. But these are all people that have I'm hiring based on that industry. And
you know what I like, Ken, is that you could click on somebody that did come up in the results and see who they're following or what groups they're a part of, so that if there's a group that might be of interest to you, you can also check out that group and be able to learn more information about that career or that industry or who's doing what and jumping around and that kind of thing.
So I called up someone who's I'm hiring at Gartner. And a lot of times with messages, they have something called an open message. This is not the case, but you can use a message for this. But let's say you don't have all the messaging. If nothing else, you can follow them for as a if that's always a good first step. But if you don't want to or aren't sure that's under more, this is where you can connect with someone. And you could also go to the company. I'm using this as an example of how to do it. You could go, as I've gone crazy with things. I mean, I think the best way to start is if I just do hiring, something very simple like that, and then look at events. I'm going to go to hiring and events. There's a virtual job fair. All this different things here.
I love that, especially when you're in job search, or you
Just
want to know
hire.
who is doing the hiring, and you want to meet other recruiters or see what companies are out there that are have openings that are looking for help as well, and who your competition is. So you can kind of go that from both directions.
And
I'm wondering this. MN Flores is asking. She has, or he has, the premium on LinkedIn, but yet the whole actively hiring is not coming up.
That should be on the drop down. So like if you're on LinkedIn and you go to looking for people under some criteria, if you do hiring and you select people, you should then see actively hiring showing up.
All right. So people, and then press
actively
enter,
hiring.
and then the third bubble should be actively hiring.
And then when you do that, anyone who now has this shows up. And again, there's 121,000 here. So I'm going to, make it less just for ease. But again, when you call the person up and says they're hiring, you then go to there and it says, this is what they're hiring for. And then you can go right to their jobs.
That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah,
Jan is asking a question that we did kind of talk about. Can you filter by location with this access?
Absolutely.
So is it only location like major markets like New York City, or can you focus in on a small town or the town that you came from, or
all right? Well, let's try it out. I'm going to try my town.
Okay.
Wayne, New Jersey. And this answers the question. They're all. It does come up with the metropolitan area and Wayne, but most of these people are Wayne, and I'm just curious to see. Oops, how can I access the recording? For the most part, these are people in Wayne, and it says that there's 197. I'm not sure how the criteria is set up as to who shows up first. I can go to my first connections within there too. Only 3. But I recommend that with whatever you do with searching, and I'm going to stop sharing now because I want to just kind of see everyone again. I want to make sure everyone has an idea. And if the actively hiring isn't out yet, it should be soon. I know a bunch of us know that we have it.
Lynn mentions that she doesn't have it.
I know. That's interesting because if you don't have it, you're going to get it soon. I mean, when LinkedIn
I find it very interesting too, Lynn.
Well, LinkedIn does rollouts in no way, shape, or form at times. I mean, this whole idea of the 10 connection requests hopefully never sees the light of day.
Well, you have 2 clients that are seeing the light of day for those things. So I hope it doesn't, roll out to everybody that's on the platform, because I think that would be detrimental to connecting and sharing and building those relationships, just like you said.
And even the idea of using a word cloud, there's Canva. There's so many great tools out there that you can do for a background banner. Mm-hmm. They're free.
Yes.
And it's a way to market yourself. And one thing I found out today, which I want to share with the audience, make sure your profile's picture is available to everyone, not just to first connections. Because I was working with a couple of people, and we actually at LEAC, and we actually did a screen share, and we walked through the settings together. And she
Yes.
had no idea that she was not being visible because, again, you set it up one way and you forget.
And that's just the point. Just because you set it up, don't forget about it. Keep using it, but always keep checking those privacy settings and memberships of groups and you all the new stuff that Ken had shared with you that maybe some people didn't even know was possible using your LinkedIn profile, because LinkedIn is always rolling out new stuff or making tweaks and changes here and there, and you want to just kind of stay up with what's going on so that you can be in the know and can use your LinkedIn profile to the best advantage that you can.
Yeah, I was just typing actively hiring on the side to see what shows up, and it's another term to use. If there's one takeaway when you think about this, use the search to your advantage. So few people use the search. We wish LinkedIn it would be better. We wish you could do a search for events besides the whole list of events. We wish. There's a lot of great stuff for job seekers on there that are outside premium. You can still get answers to interview questions. Your resume can be built
Yes,
off your LinkedIn profile.
absolutely. Yes. And you know what, Ken, before you go, I have one more question. I know I could probably talk to you all day about all kinds of LinkedIn questions,
Right.
and hope that you would probably know the answers. There are a ton of networking groups in the tri-state area, and I know that we are all over the world with this LinkedIn
Yes.
Live. But how would somebody look up networking groups that are in the area or within 5 miles or 10 miles or virtual or in person? Is there a way using LinkedIn to know about what's going on around you?
LinkedIn itself, if you do it by groups, you can do it by company, you can do it by area. The thing
You can
about
do it by area.
you can do it by area. I mean, there are a lot of great tools out there. My Networking Central,
Yep.
of course.
Uh-huh.
But even if you do a search on Meetup or Eventbrite or anything else, but above all, ask other people where the groups are.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, to be honest, I think I was brought up a certain way to not ask certain questions, whether it was in a meeting or somewhere else. Like, I don't want to be stupid. I don't want to be,
I'm supposed to know everything. Yeah.
mindset change now is if I don't know, I'm going to ask, and I don't know everything about everything.
Right.
And I think that's an important thing. So, how to search for a hiring manager within a company. All right, so let's do this.
Wonderful question, Wilma.
No, I know. I have to actually go to my screen and go to here. So,
Ken's looking it up for Wilma right now.
So if Wilma wants to post what a specific, I mean, I can do it for a company, but if Wilma has a specific company, let's say I do KPMG. I'm going to do KPMG, which is an accounting company. Be great if I spelled it. Be great if I spelled it right. That's the other occupational hazard of doing this. KPMG. So I'm going to do a search for KPMG US, and I'm going to get people. Now, what I might want to do is under all filters, select under industry, human resources, maybe. See what shows up. These are people at KPMG, 2,400 of them. Still too many, probably. So I'm going to just do the New York City metropolitan area. These are people that you could reach out to based on that, a manager of talent acquisition at KPMG.
So some of them on the right-hand side say connect, and some of them say message. What does that mean?
What that means
want to ask them, are they the hiring manager? What do I do with that?
Well, you can call up any of these profiles, first of all, to do that. Like, here's a person that's a manager of university acquisition. And even if he's not the right person, it's a starting point. But you can't, LinkedIn makes it very difficult for you to connect with a third connection. You will have that option, but they really like, and I could do the message is the default here for that. I can still connect with them, but I would want to personalize it. Um, I would probably more than anything else ask someone if they know someone at the company to make an introduction to, as much as possible. But this
So
is just
how
an,
do you know if you know somebody? I mean, a lot of us have
all
over
right. So
500,000 connections or
I'm
whatever.
gonna
How do
search.
we know?
I'm gonna search under my connections. I'm gonna search for any first connections that I have there. So now I have
So
people that are
where it says one, you're already connected to um,
but
Rich and Steve and
but
Ovalese and yeah.
but this person here, this person here again, what I would want to do is an all filter again.
Okay.
I would go under all filter, and there's a thing for the current company here. So if I wanted to do KPMG, this will
Mhm.
probably be even less. But KPMG US, show results. No results found. So now that's
That's
why,
discouraging.
well, no, it's not discouraging. It's just that I'm going to change out of my first connections. I'm going
Okay.
to, I'm going to change second connections. Okay. So now I'm going to look at these second connections. Let's say this is Jen. Well, we have 7 people in common. So
Ah,
I might reach
okay.
out to one of those people.
So you click to see what the seven were, and then you can,
Message any of them.
okay. So it's not
Or
costing you anything. It's not
won't
one
cost
of
anything.
your usage to, or is it? Because it's second, but you're premium. So you're cool.
Well, here's the thing too. Sometimes when they have message, this person has it set up as a free message.
Okay.
So it means that you don't have to use up a message and anyone can do that. So maybe I'm say interested in learning about, I'm just going to say interested in learning about the company and just send that person a note and ask if they'd be
Okay.
willing to connect. The idea of the exercise, as I've been doing, is just to show you it is possible to do any type of searching that you want on LinkedIn. You just have to think about what the strategy is that you want to do. Maybe KPMG isn't right. Maybe you want to do a different company, but you can do a search for companies and then search for the people industry wise in the company, because not everyone, some people are HR to companies, some people are IT.
Right.
And it's also possible if you have an IT connection, they may know the person.
Okay.
I'm just going as granular as possible.
Right. Right.
That's why
Or
I
if
want
you
to
don't
make
have an
it.
IT person, maybe you have, an engineering person or,
Right.
again, talent acquisition in common with the job poster, right?
Yeah,
So you
the
can still
idea is to
do a lot of
use the LinkedIn search in any way possible.
So, how do connections help in job searching? That you just answered that question. That you can use, you can message somebody without using up your freebies or
Right.
your allotted messages because you are already directly connected to them. The trick is to know that person and have a relationship with them. I can reach out to Ken at any
Right.
time and say, "Hey, do you know blah blah blah?" And he can tell me a little bit about it. Whereas I might have somebody else in my connections, and yeah, we're connected, we're first line, we're really, but yeah, I don't really know them because I haven't had a conversation
Yeah.
with them. So it really depends on that.
It's also how you portray the message. Because if you say, help me find a job, it's not the same as saying, do you have a few minutes to have a conversation in a general way? I mean, we all know, like, and I'm sure you get a lot of, comments and things. Most job seekers, and there's a balancing act. I mean, we want to help, we want to do what we can. At the same time, we don't know what you do as well as what you do. I can
Right.
look at your profile, I can look at a resume and get a snapshot, but that is not going to be everything. And you want to have that opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Even post a video on LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
People have posted videos that they're looking for jobs.
Right.
It's definitely going to get their attention.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Take any avenue you can. I mean, I think what I wanted to try to do today was get as much information as possible and ask for help.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Well, we're just about out of time. I know that typing, I don't know how fast you guys type, but
So
we
I
can
would say
take
again,
another question or two.
here's a perfect example. LinkedIn user, I don't know who this person is because their picture is
Hmm.
probably only for first connections. Which,
Right.
if that's the case, she may be a second connection, but not in common with me, which again, it doesn't matter to me. But if this person wants to have a conversation with me about what to do, and again, this is a great comment by Kim. Don't just ask your first level connections for referral. Ask them for an introduction to their hiring manager.
Love that, Kim.
I
Love
think
that
I
advice.
think there's a nuance to everything. Um, and I still follow up to this day with lots of my connections every once in a while, but I
Hmm.
follow up by posting on their content. It is going to be impossible for me to reach out to everyone.
Hmm. No,
And don't,
absolutely.
yeah, because like I
I
said, we started on a post. We started on a post. Who knew how it would evolve?
Yes, and it really has evolved, and we've been able to introduce each other to other people of interest that are going to help them build up their weaker spots, whether it's Ken's weaker spot or my a lot of weaker spots. So that's the power of LinkedIn,
So
and
you
it can
develop
only get better.
you develop a relationship after connecting. Keep track of what they're doing, check in with them every once in a while. Sometimes you may find that they've created a post, so engage on the post. You could consider tagging them on the post. Um, again, there's no one best practice to how to do this, but I think the most important thing is find what works for you. I'm an introvert. I admit that
So am
wholeheartedly.
I. So am I.
I
I guess
bring
that's why we
attention.
get along so well.
But I think the main thing is, and LinkedIn is a great tool for me because I could be behind here just typing, and I don't have to, and you start the conversation that way. But part of it is this is all getting out of your comfort zone for
Mhm.
sure.
And that's all part of maintaining a deep connection, a deep relationship with the people that you are connected to, whether it is on LinkedIn or any other social
And
media
if you go to
platform.
your kids' athletic events,
Mhm.
connect there. I
Yes.
connected there. I connected when I went food shopping with people because you have that relationship. I mean, that's a whole different discussion with QR codes and things, but you just never know
Yep.
where it's gonna get together and where you're gonna build a
Absolutely.
relationship. So,
Absolutely.
all right. Well,
Well,
I
thank
want to
you
be
so much
yeah,
because this was truly enlightening for it doesn't matter what avenue you're coming from, job seeker, HR, a marketing person that wants to expand their business, to be able to use LinkedIn that they're already on to do additional research and then build that relationship is a really huge thing. You're not just Googling, you're taking it a step further.
and as Ernie said, connecting with a prospect by commenting. It is an easy thing to do because you can then connect with all the other people who've commented on the post. You have that frame of reference.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. Well, again, if you would like to watch Ken in action once again and what he clicked on to get to where he was, even I heard this and I remember, but I'm not sure how this event will replay on my LinkedIn profile. So you can check out
Mhm.
events on LinkedIn under my name, as well as YouTube, youtube.com/c/helping clients to see the light. And
Absolutely.
you will be able to see it there as well. So lots of opportunities. Please tell your friends. It's invaluable information, and again, it's free. So it's only going to help you.
Absolutely. Thank you again, Christine, for having me.
Thank you.
Um,
Thank you. Thank you so
I'm
much for,
gonna go out and enjoy the summer weather for another day or so here.
yes, yes, absolutely. All
Yep.
right.
All right.
Thanks,
Take
everyone.
care.
Take
Bye.
care.
Bye.
Bye.